The mind is the most powerful tool in your arsenal. I created this podcast as a daily supplement for you to invest into your thinking. This is your
Daily Mind Medicine.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mind Medicine. Got a quick story I wanted to share with you, pass along, and I'll tell you how this story impacted me, and hopefully it'll impact you in 1,000 different ways. I was talking with a friend who's becoming a dear friend, and he's somebody who's had a long history in business, and he's been doing this a long time, and you can tell he's had many years to perfect his craft, build multiple businesses. He is far richer than I am. And sometimes we just get to talking, and I'll ask him questions, and we'll talk about what we're doing in our world and how our businesses are growing, and every once in a while he'll pull out a gold nug, a story from the past. He was telling me last week about how the first time he ever flew private, he was going into a speaking engagement, and it was in Tennessee, and he had to do it in Tennessee, and he had to fly back to where he was from. But he had an event the day before the event and an event the day after the event, and there was no commercial flights into the event. So the event owner said, well, why don't you look into private? And he said, okay. He looked into private. It was $50,000, and he's like, there's no way. I'm not. It's $50,000 as opposed to first class, $1,500. And the guy that was running the event at the time, who was further along and wealthier and more successful than my friend at the time, said, you're being crazy. You're going to make $350,000 for speaking here, from sales and whatnot, and it's $50,000 to get the plane. It's a trade here, and you're getting more than you are spending. And I've heard stories like this before, but in life right now, I thought about that from a totally different, point of view, and not necessarily money. Obviously, that's simple math. Like, I think we would all be more successful as a human culture if we were not so obsessed with losing, and we thought about what we were getting. Everything in life is math. Everything is at some point an equation somewhere where you are going to be giving something and you're going to be getting something. There's going to be something exiting and something entering. And in this particular sense, you want to make sure, obviously, that you've got more coming in than you've got going out. But I thought about this as a human and as a friend, and I said, what's interesting is the way to pretty much guarantee that I am always going to have more coming into my life than leaving my life. I'm not afraid to lose. I know that as the years go by, there's going to be things that we have now that we don't have then, and it's going to be nostalgic, and we'll look back, and at some point we'll think, man, the good old days, but we'll gain so much more. But is there a way to guarantee that in every season of life there's more coming in than there is going out? And I thought, I think that there is. I think the secret here is to make sure that I become the person in my relationships, in my mentorships, in everything that I do as a husband and as a dad, whatever it is that you do, making sure that you show up to the situation committed to giving more than the other person. I'm going to give more than I'm going to take here. And when all of us have this mindset together, it's amazing how we can come together, and you'll have new things come into your life, and you'll be fulfilled in a way that you've never been fulfilled before. But I also think that there's just this issue with getting rid of the fear of being taken advantage of, getting rid of the fear of, what if I invest time into this person and it doesn't work out? Or what if I invest money into this thing and it doesn't work out? There are absolutely, wisdom should prevail. Wisdom should be the anchor here. But let me tell you, there's not a lot of good things in your life that are going to come as a byproduct of you being afraid. There's not a lot of blessing. There's not a lot of growth. There's not a lot of abundance that's going to come as a direct byproduct of you just having an operational mode of fear. And I see too many people with so many gifts that They're so worried about being taken advantage of, or they're so worried about getting the worst end of the deal, that they end up becoming unknown and obscure and irrelevant because they are never willing to give more than they take. And people don't want to interact with other people who are like that. Just a random story. I don't know where this hits you, but it's a little bit of a different flow for today, because to me, I'm going to keep that story and I'm going to show up everywhere. I want to be the event giving $300,000 and the plane that costs $50,000 is my fee. I want to be so much more of a giver than a taker. And I know if I do that well, the people around me will do that well in return. All right, adios.
DailyMindMedicine.com